What's going on, guys? Welcome back to GREAL.COACH, and as promised, I have my Western Conference predictions for the 2016-17 NBA season. I did the Eastern Conference predictions. I'll put an annotation in here for y'all to click on that if y'all haven't seen it. And this is actually going to be a lot harder. The Western Conference is going to be a lot harder to predict next year than the East. It's just so many good teams, and teams you don't know how good they're going to do. So let's get started. I'm going bottom to top like I did last time. So I'm going to start off number 15. The worst team in the Western Conference next year, I'm going to say, is going to be the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is different from the East because I think in the East, there is a team in the Brooklyn Nets and another in the Sixers that we know are going to be really bad, but I don't see any team being absolutely awful in the Western Conference. That's why Phoenix at 15 is not saying, okay, you're the worst team in the league, it's you're the worst team in the West, because the West is better than the East. As always, I think it's going to be again this year. So 15 is Phoenix. They just don't have enough talent pieces yet. You know, young guys. They have Devin Booker, who I really like, but other than that, just not that much. So Phoenix at 15, yeah, I think that's pretty appropriate. Now, 14, I'm going with the Sacramento Kings. I know DeMarcus Cousins is a force to be reckoned with, but I just don't see the Kings going anywhere next season. They haven't really made progress in terms of what they want to do into the future. So they lost Rondo and Bellinelli. They don't have pieces that make a winning team. They're just not doing it right. Their general management is not doing it right. So I think they're not going to be good again. They have a great player in DeMarcus Cousins, but other than that, they just don't have anything. They don't have a lot of hope for the future right now. At 13, I'm going with the Lakers. Yes, the Lakers are making a little bit of a jump, not much. They picked up Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov, two veterans that can play at least, and that's fine to go along with their young guys, their new addition of Brandon Ingram, so they're going to be better than last year, just still not very good. At number 12, I'm going with New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans, I know they were injured last year, that's why they were so bad. But I just don't see them going far either, just because they lost Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson. They got Buddy Hield, and the guys are probably going to be healthier for next season. I know Tyreke Evans is not going to start, coming October and November because he's still injured, but that team, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think they're very deep at all. They got some pieces, but I just don't see it really working out. Anthony Davis, again, he's a great player, but I don't know if the team is in the right place for next year. At number 11, I'm going with the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets could have been lower on this list. Maybe it's surprising that I put them this high, but I just think the Nuggets have some upside. They picked up Jamal Murray, which is nice. He's going to get some scoring. Emmanuel Mudiay and Nikola Jokic are two guys that are going to be better next year after their good rookie years. They have talent in Kenneth Faried and Danilo Gallinari, Will Barton. They have guys that can do it. They have guys that can produce. They just need to put the pieces together, and I think they can make a decent team, just not playoff worthy. At number 10, I'm going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, they're going from number 3 to number 10. They're like the Heat of the West, except much worse because they lost Kevin Durant. However, they do have a top 4 player in the NBA in Russell Westbrook, who is going to play his heart out every single night and get them wins. I just don't think he can do it all by himself. He's going to have a monster stat line. It's going to be fun to watch, but it's just not enough without KD. At number 9, I'm going with the Dallas Mavericks. They signed Harrison Barnes, got rid of Chandler Parsons, but the Mavericks just seem to be around this 6, 7, 8 area every single year. And this year, I don't think it's going to fly. I do not think that they're going to be able to make it in. They lost Zaza Pachulia as well. They still have Dirk, obviously, but just not a great team to surround him. And yes, they could make the playoffs. It could happen next year, but it just doesn't seem like it because they have the same team basically every year. They don't have good enough pieces to win, and that's their problem. And I just don't think that they have what it takes to be better than these next 8 teams. So, starting with the 8th seed, I think the Houston Rockets are going to make the playoffs and be the 8th seed again. And this is because James Harden still doesn't have the help he needs to lead his team to an NBA championship. He's got Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon as new faces. Patrick Beverley and Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella are coming back to start alongside him, but I just don't think it's enough. It wasn't enough last year when they had Dwight Howard. I don't think it's going to be enough this year without Dwight Howard, even though I don't think he's that much of a difference maker personally. Harden's going to put up great stats again, but I just don't think they have what it takes to get past the first round of the playoffs. they're going to be there. I think, though, Harden is that good of a player. At number 7, I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going to make the playoffs. I think this is the year because they have so much potential. They've got future superstars in Karl Anthony Towns and probably Andrew Wiggins if his development keeps on going right. They've got a point guard of the future in Chris Dunn. They've got a great coach in Tom Thibodeau. They just have a team that is ready to compete now. I think these guys can do it. They are going to work together. They're going to get some chemistry. They're going to make a 7th seed. I think this season they're going to be in the playoffs. Not very high. They're not going to win a series. But when they pick up a free agent in an off season, sometime from now, they will be a huge threat. At number 6, I'm going with the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies always seem to make it into the playoffs quietly without any attention on them, and it's because they're bringing back the same crew, and Chandler Parsons is coming as well. They've got a good team. Hopefully Mike Conley is healthy. Hopefully they're healthy. I mean, I thought it was crazy that they still were in the playoffs last season, even though they had no one. They got to the playoffs and they got swept. Yes, it was because they didn't have anybody, but now they got these guys, and they got Chandler Parsons, who actually, I don't know, he's a little injury prone, which might not be exactly what they want, but it's going to be fun to see him in a Memphis jersey. And I still think they're going to get away into the playoffs, find a way to the playoffs again next season. At number 5, I'm going with the Portland Trail Blazers. I love this team. They're so fun to watch every year. They always exceed expectations, especially last year when they presumably had no one but ended up having a really nice team. And Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum were great for this team last season. They added Evan Turner. They re-signed Allen Crabbe and Mo Harkless. They have a team, ladies and gentlemen. These guys can play, and these guys are going to be better than last year, just a little bit. Not a better seed, but still making the playoffs and being a 5 seed is very good for a team that looks like this. At number 4, making the biggest jump of all is, actually, maybe it was the Timberwolves. I don't know if the Utah Jazz is number 4. They're going to go from 9 to 4. Because of what they've done in the offseason, and they're developing their players. I absolutely am so excited for what this Jazz team has to offer. They've got an incredible starting lineup that looks like it's going to be Hill, Hood, Hayward, Favors, and Gobert on the bench. You got George Hill starting, my fault. On the bench, you got Dante Exum. You got Patty Mills and Boris Diaw and Joe Johnson. And many, many more. If I'm forgetting any, I know they've got a good bench as well as a great starting lineup. They're going to lock up on defense. This team is going to be so good on the defensive end of the floor. And I predict them being a top 2 or 3 defensive team in the league. They will be fantastic on that end. And that's where the Jazz are going to end up next season at number 4. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers, they didn't have that great of an offseason at all. But in the end, they still have the trio of Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. These guys will always get it done, and if they're all healthy, they will always produce a top 4 seed in the NBA playoffs. They're great every single year, and they're going to do it again next season because they have those 3 guys. They have some support. JJ Redick is there every year as well. They're just this good. They're just consistently a great team in the Western Conference. Not number 2 and number 1. You should know that the Spurs and the Warriors are the 2 teams left. And obviously, I'm going with the Warriors at number 1 and the Spurs at number 2. I'm going with the Warriors at number 1, obviously, because they by far have the best roster out of anyone. Besides any chemistry issues or any fit issues, they should be a number 1 seed. It does not matter what the chemistry is like. Their team is more stacked than any team we have ever seen, and I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate it. I hate it so much that Kevin Durant is on the Warriors and that they're so stacked that they should win the NBA title, that their expectations are to the roof. Obviously, they're going to be a number 1 seed. I don't see them winning 73 games again. I see them winning roughly anywhere between 65 and 70, something like that. Maybe even less than 65 because I don't think it'll be a perfect fit at first. They'll find their niche, but it's going to be a hell of a season for them at least. And number 2, I said the Spurs. The Spurs lost a bunch of players, but in the end, they still have that core of Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker. They got Danny Green still. They got good bench players. Even though Mills, Diaw, and Duncan are gone, They still have a superstar, a top 3 player in my eyes in Kawhi Leonard. They have an amazing coach. They know how to do this. They've done it every single year, gotten to the playoffs. They're going to make it again, and they're going to be good again. They won't be as good as they were last year, but they're still going to be a great team. I think Kawhi Leonard's going to have his best season yet. I can't wait to see it. And that is my Western Conference playoff predictions, or just regular season predictions for next season, the 2016-2017 NBA season. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Again, if you didn't see my Eastern Conference one, it's on my channel. I'll have an annotation in this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love y'all to suggest stuff in the comments for me to do. Like it if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to this channel. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.